Hello, and welcome back to another deep dive session. I am your host, David.
And I am Sarah. It is so good to be back here with you all. Today, David, the energy feels different. We are not just talking about grammar rules or vocabulary lists today, are we?
No, absolutely not, Sarah. Today is about the heart of the matter. We are going to talk about the invisible wall that stops so many brilliant people from achieving their potential. We are talking about fear.
That word alone makes my stomach turn a little bit. I remember when I first started learning English properly, it wasn't the difficult words that stopped me. It was the feeling that everyone was watching me, waiting for me to fail.
That is exactly what we need to address. There is a famous quote by Franklin D. Roosevelt that fits perfectly here. When it comes to English, the fear of making a mistake is often much worse than the mistake itself.
That is so true. I used to stay silent in meetings, even when I had the best idea in the room. I would sit there, rehearsing the sentence in my head 1,000 times. By the time I built up the courage to speak, the topic had changed. It was heartbreaking. I felt invisible.
Sarah, that is a pain so many of our listeners feel right now. The pain of being invisible. Listeners, I want you to ask yourself, why is English important to you? Is it just a subject in school, or is it a key?
It has to be seen as a key, David. English isn't just a language anymore. It is the operating system of the world. It connects you to knowledge, to culture, and most importantly, to people. If you don't speak it, you are limiting your world.
Exactly. Imagine a doctor in Brazil who discovers a new treatment but cannot share it with the world because of a language barrier. Or a brilliant engineer in Pakistan who has a solution for clean water but cannot pitch it to international investors. English is the bridge, and when you let fear burn that bridge, you are stuck on an island.
That is a powerful image, being stuck on an island. So let's solve this problem. We promised our listeners this would be a problem-solving session. David, what is the root cause of this fear? Why do we freeze?
Psychologically, it is linked to our ego and our identity. When we speak our native language, we are intelligent, funny, and articulate. But when we switch to English, we suddenly feel like children. We feel stripped of our intelligence. We are afraid of looking stupid.
Oh, I relate to that so much. I remember feeling like a toddler. It was frustrating. So how do we fix this mindset?
We have to reframe the goal. That is a trap. Perfection is the enemy of progress.
Connection over perfection. I like that. Can you explain that a bit more?
Sure, if you say, "Me go store yesterday," grammatically, it is wrong. But did I understand you? Yes, we connected. You successfully transferred an idea from your brain to mine. That is a win. We need to celebrate communication, not just grammar.
That takes the pressure off. But what about the physical reaction? The sweating palms, the racing heart when you have to speak to a native speaker?
That is the fight or flight response. Your brain thinks the English conversation is a tiger attacking you. You need to calm your nervous system. Before you answer, take a deep breath for 3 seconds. It signals to your brain that you are safe.
I actually tried that recently. It feels like an eternity to you, but to the listener, it just looks like you are thinking deeply. It actually makes you look more confident.
Precisely. Now, let's talk about another problem, the lack of an environment. People say, "David, I live in a non-English speaking country." That is a legitimate problem, but it has a solution.
I know what you were going to say. Self-talk?
Yes, it sounds crazy, but it works. You have to narrate your life. When you are making coffee, say out loud, "I am pouring the water. The steam is rising." You need to get your mouth muscles used to making these sounds.
I used to do that in the shower. I would have full interviews with myself. I would pretend I was on a famous talk show. It sounds funny, but it helped me find my voice without the fear of judgment, because the only person listening was the shampoo bottle.
And that is the first step. Listeners, you need to create a safe zone where mistakes are welcome. Remember what Thomas Edison said about failure? I have not failed. Every grammatical mistake you make is just you finding a way that doesn't work, bringing you closer to the way that does.
That is beautiful. We need to embrace the mistake. David, let's do a little role play for our listeners. Let's simulate a situation where things go wrong and show them how to recover. Because the fear isn't about speaking. The fear is about what happens when we get stuck.
Great idea! Let's pretend we are at a networking event. I will be a stranger, and you are trying to explain your job, but you forget the word.
Okay. I am ready. I am nervous, but I am ready.
So, Sarah, it is nice to meet you here. What do you do for a living?
Hi, David. Well, I work in... Oh, gosh. I work in the place where where they keep the money and you can take loans. I totally forgot the word.
Pauses. Do you mean a bank?
Yes, a bank. I am a manager at a bank. Sorry, my mind went blank for a second.
Out of character. Okay, stop there. Sarah, that was perfect. You didn't panic. You didn't apologize profusely. You described the word you didn't know.
Circumlocution. That is a big word.
It just means talking around the word. Never let a missing word stop the flow of conversation.
That is so empowering. It means I don't need a dictionary in my head to survive a conversation. I just need to be creative.
Exactly. English is a tool for creativity. Let's shift gears a little bit. I want to talk about the emotional weight of accents. I have many students who hate their accent.
Oh, this breaks my heart. I have a friend who has a lovely Italian accent, but she tries so hard to sound American that she sounds robotic. She loses all her personality.
Here is the truth. An accent is a sign of bravery. It is a badge of honor. As long as your pronunciation is clear enough to be understood, your accent is part of your identity. Do not scrub it away.
I needed to hear that. English connects us. When we speak English, we are not abandoning our culture. We are inviting others to understand it.
Well said. You know, Nelson Mandela once said, if you talk to a man in a language he understands, that goes to his head. When we learn English, we are trying to reach the hearts of billions of people.
That gives me chills. It really elevates the whole journey. It is not just about passing an IELTS exam or getting a promotion. It is about humanity.
Let's talk about consistency. Motivation gets you started, but habit keeps you going. Many of our listeners start with fire. They study for 4 hours a day and then burn out after a week. What is the solution there?
Do not study for 4 hours. Study for 15 minutes, but do it every single day. Listen to a podcast while you wash dishes. Read 1 page of a book before bed. Consistency is more powerful than intensity.
Aristotle said, "We are what we repeatedly do." If you listen to English for 15 minutes a day for a year, that is over 90 hours of listening. That will change your brain.
And it has to be fun, David. If you hate reading grammar books, don't read them. Watch movies, listen to music, watch cooking shows in English. If you enjoy the process, the fear disappears because you are entertained.
Let's address the listeners who feel they are too old to learn. They think their brain has lost the ability to absorb new languages.
Oh, that is a myth. I know people in their 60s who started learning English and are now fluent. It might take a little longer than a 5-year-old, but adults have an advantage. We understand concepts. We have discipline.
Yes, and neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself, exists until the day we die. Learning English actually keeps your brain young. It is like a gym workout for your mind. So do not let age be an excuse.
We talk a lot about speaking, but I feel like fear comes because we are afraid we won't understand what the other person says.
That is a huge anxiety trigger. Don't just listen to the words. Listen to the tone, look at the body language, and learn the magic phrases.
Magic phrases?
Yes, people are generally kind. If you are vulnerable and ask for help, 99% of people will smile and help you.
Vulnerability is a strength. We often think we have to put on armor and be tough, but saying, "I am learning," actually makes people respect you more.
Let's go back to the practice session aspect of this episode. I want to give our listeners a homework assignment, a challenge for this week.
I love challenges. What do you have in mind?
I want you to record yourself. Talk about it for 2 minutes on your phone voice recorder. Then, listen to it.
Listening to your own voice is painful. Everyone hates how they sound.
It is painful, but it is the fastest way to improve. You will hear your mistakes. You will hear where you hesitated. Then, record it again. Try to fix those small things. Do this once a day for a week. You will see massive improvement.
That is actionable. I will do it too. I will record myself talking about pizza. I love pizza.
Haha, a worthy topic. You know, Sarah, as we start to wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with a sense of hope. The journey of learning English is a mountain. It is steep, it is rocky, but the view from the top is worth it.
It is. And you are not climbing alone. That is the most important thing. There are millions of people climbing right next to you. We are a community.
Hopefully, I want to share one last quote from the legendary Muhammad Ali. Don't focus on how long it will take to become fluent. Focus on making today's practice count. Did you learn one new word today? That is a victory.
And forgive yourself. You will have bad days. You will have days where you feel like you have forgotten everything. That is normal. It is part of the growth curve. Just don't quit.
Exactly. The only way to truly fail is to stop trying. English is your passport to a bigger life. It is your tool to solve problems, to negotiate better salaries, to understand movies without subtitles, to make friends from across the ocean.
So take a deep breath, drop your shoulders, unclench your jaw. You have got this. We believe in you.
We really do. Remember, practice makes progress, not perfection. Keep speaking, keep making mistakes, and keep growing.
See you in the next episode. Bye for now.
Goodbye. Wait, Sarah, before we completely sign off, I think we have a little more time. I want to add a bonus segment for those who are really serious. Let's call this the Advanced Mindset segment.
Oh, a bonus round. I love it. Let's do it. What is on your mind?
We mentioned it briefly, but we didn't explain how to do it. This is the single best technique for pronunciation and intonation.
Yes, shadowing changed my life. It is when you listen to a native speaker and repeat exactly what they say while they're saying it, like an echo.
Exactly. You don't wait for them to finish the sentence. You follow them like a shadow. You copy their speed, their emotion, their pauses. If they sound angry, you sound angry. If they whisper, you whisper.
It helps so much with the music of English. Every language has a melody. English goes up and down. Some languages are very flat. If you speak English with a flat melody, you sound bored or robotic. Shadowing teaches you to sing the song of English.
That is a poetic way to put it. The song of English. Listeners, find a TED Talk on YouTube. TED Talks are great because the speakers are clear and articulate. 75 speed if you need to, and shadow them for 5 minutes. Your mouth will feel tired. That means it is working.
Seriously, what about vocabulary retention? I learn a word on Monday, and by Wednesday, it is gone. It just evaporates.
It is a real scientific concept. If you don't review a new piece of information, you lose 50% of it within a day.
Is that like using flashcards?
Yes, but smart flashcards. Use apps like Anki or Quizlet. They show you the card right before you are about to forget it. But more importantly, you need to use the word emotionally.
Emotionally? How do I get emotional about a word like refrigerator?
Maybe not refrigerator. Your brain remembers your life better than it remembers a dictionary definition. Connect the word to a memory.
That makes total sense. I remember words better when I associate them with a funny situation or an embarrassing moment.
Let's touch on one final fear, the fear of grammar rules. The present perfect continuous tense, the third conditional. These names sound like horror movie titles to students.
They really do. It sounds terrifying. But native speakers don't think about these names when they speak, do they?
Never. It just feels right. And how do you get that feeling? Input. Massive amounts of input. Reading and listening. When you read enough correct English, your brain starts to detect patterns automatically.
So stop analyzing the language like a scientist and start enjoying it like an artist.
Precisely. Use grammar books as a reference, not a Bible. If you are stuck, look it up. But don't memorize rules in isolation. It is unnatural.
This has been such a rich session. I feel motivated myself. I think I am going to go read a book in English tonight.
That sounds like a great plan. Listeners, we hope this extended session gave you the tools you need. English is not a monster to be fought. It is a puzzle to be solved. And you have all the pieces. You just need patience to put them together.
And remember, every expert was once a beginner. Every fluent speaker once stuttered. You are on the right path.
Until next time, keep practicing, keep shadowing, and keep smiling. Speak without fear.
Goodbye!
Goodbye.